Hello and welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and it's another scorching day, but I'm not going to do the temperature. What have I got for you today? Well, it's another highly recommended piece of magnificence, basically, this time by Abid Hawila, who has designed this Renban puzzle. It's called Renban Percentage Mark 3, which I should actually have checked this, but I don't know. Is percentage some sort of mathematical sign that I don't know? It might be. Oh well, I'm at a disadvantage. But this puzzle's come heavily touted from the Discord server. Apparently it's magnificent. And it's actually a follow-up. Well, it's not. It's a follow-up for us of the puzzle I did the other day, which was Codex Renban puzzle. I think that was called Renban Dance, and that was extraordinary. It completely revolutionised my views of the form, to be honest, because I'd never done a Renban puzzle that used parity before, and it made me think, good grief, we should be doing more Renban puzzles on the channel. So I was very pleased to see this one suggested. So I'll read you the rules in a moment, but the first thing I need to do today is to read out the names of all the successful solvers we've had of our Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Sudoku hunt over on Patreon. We have been deluged with correct entries. I'm not going to be able to read everybody out today. I'll keep going over the course of the next few days. So don't worry, if I don't read you out today, it's just because we've had so many entries. And I will get to your name. So well done to David Radke, Benjamin Huang, Dennis Oken, Freddie Carver, Lady Ruatha, Leppy R64, Altifor, Fiona Yu, Ryan Walker, Shui Wu, Kusi Zokol, Grufti Leonadelli, Michaela Holmes, Mark Willis, Hamlin, Torvald Odegaard, I hope, Ng Xiao Chiang or Qian. I may have got that one wrong too. I'm so sorry. If you are worried about my pronunciation, please do include in the email a detailed elucidation of what I actually need to say. Tanuj Bojwani, Luke Peabody, also known as Grizzled Stoat, Gilbert Yeager, Brandon Crow, Soren Hine, Greg Bishop, Chris Donovan, Klaus Kunzman, Nagar Rice, or it could be Reese, sorry if I've got that wrong, Chris Cheetham, Rob Frankham, Jose Cusco, Gary Arzumanyan, hopefully, Tove Ekval, Professor Cap, Brian Chapman and Tim McCaskey, and I will tell you that that is only about a third of the correct entries that we've received over the last 24 hours. It's been extraordinary, and so many of the comments have been great. So if you've not tried it yet, do try and have a look at the Hitchhiker's Guide Sudoku Hunt. I really do think you'll enjoy it. Now, with that said, let's get to the rules of Abid Hawila's puzzle. Here we go. So we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. Each grey and red line contains a set of consecutive non-repeating digits in any order. Clues outside the grid give the sum of the digits along the indicated diagonal. Digits may repeat along such a diagonal if allowed by the other rules. Right, so let's focus on what the lines mean first. So along this line here, we need to put consecutive digits without repeats, but we can do them in any order. So let's imagine that the digits we discovered were on this line were 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then we could put them in something like that. That would be absolutely fine. You can see they're consecutive. They don't have to be in any order, so it's not like thermometers or anything like that. We just have to make sure they're consecutive and non-repeating. So that would be a valid way of finishing that line. Now, in terms of the little killer clue there, those 5 cells sum to 16. And we can repeat digits, so you could do something like that and then make those two add up to 13, and that would be valid. So do have a go. I don't know how hard this is. You'll know better than me by looking at the video length, but I can guarantee that it's likely to be, well, I can guarantee it'll be a super puzzle. I just hope I'll be able to solve it. So do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. So I can see 9 has to be in one of those 2 squares, which actually are on Renban lines. Right, so immediately there's something we can say about one of these lines. Either this line or this line must be 9, 8, 7 because it has a 9 on it. And we can't do 9, 10, 11 because that won't work. Right, I don't know if I can, I don't think I can do that yet, though. I can just note that it's true. 9 in box 2, I can see has to be on a Renban line. So it's either there, in which case this Renban line is 987, or it's on here, in which case I guess that we then know that this would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 5 cells large. So it would be quite useful if we knew which of these Renban lines this 9 was on, but I don't think we do. I presume this, I mean, this 16 is a little low. It's averaging close to 3, but it's not low enough that we can actually do anything with it. At least I don't think it is. So I'm just drawn to thinking about parity after the other day, but that's probably not sensible. What about, why have we got red and grey lines? That's really strange, because I mean, these 5 cells must be consecutive, because although the line changes colour, you know, if this went, I don't know, 1, this isn't going to work, going 1, 2, 3. Let's go to, how are we going to go? Let's go 4, 5, 6, for example. You can see that these two now, we can't carry on and go 5, 4. We're going to have to go 7, 8. So those 5 cells there are consecutive, but they're drawn in 2 different colours, which I think means this square has become important somehow. So if we went, yeah, okay. Yes, I see. So if this was all one colour, we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on it, and we could put any of those digits in any position. But once we split the line in 2, we have to be a lot more careful. So you can't, you know, if you try and put 1, 2, it's not a very good example, ignore this 3. If you try and put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this Renban line, where does the 3 go? And I think the 3 would have to go there, wouldn't it? I think it would. Just let me think about that for a second, because otherwise I'm going to feel a bit silly. I can't see another way that it could possibly work. So this joint of the Renban line is important somehow, because it's basically specifying the middle digit of the 5-cell sequence. Now if you can't put 9 on here, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, you know that there is a 4 and a 5 on this line. Well, that's all very well, isn't it? But it's not actually helping us. And the same must, maybe this is better, because 2 obviously rules out 1 from being on the line. So this line is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as a minimum. And 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So this one has 7, this has 5, 6 and 7 on it. But we still, I don't think we can hone in on the middle digit without knowing more about it. Right, this isn't going very well, is it? So, do we do maths? I'm wondering about mod 3. In fact, mod 3, does the percentage sign mean mod in maths? Because I can see that those squares have to be divisible by 3, because any 3-cell Renban line, if we think about how we could express the contents of this line mathematically, it's going to be, let's say the middle digit is x, then there's going to be an x minus 1 digit and an x plus 1 digit. So the sum of the digits on that Renban line are 3x, therefore the sum of them is divisible by 3. Now, okay, yeah, right. So this means we might have to use the secret here. What's the secret? Well, the secret is that any correct box row or column of the Sudoku will contain all the digits 1 to 9. If you add up the digits 1 to 9, you get 45. That's the secret. 45 is the key to so much maths in Sudoku. Now, if though 45 is divisible by 3, of course, so if those are divisible by 3 and those are divisible by 3, and they are, then this must also be divisible by 3 in order to ensure that maths works. Now, yes. Okay, so this is divisible by 3. The red line is divisible by 3. Maybe this is why the red line has been differentiated from the grey line, because I can say with certainty those 3 squares are divisible by 3. So that's divisible by 3. This is divisible by 3. Therefore, this combination is divisible by 3, but 9 is divisible by 3. So that domino is divisible by 3. Right, now look at this. If we look along row 9, we've got something similar going on again. So those are divisible by 3, that's divisible by 3, that's divisible by 3, so that's divisible by 3. So in this box, we've got those 5 squares are divisible by 3, which means these 4 squares are divisible by 3. This is very cool. I don't know what this is, but it's definitely divisible by 3, because if these 4 squares are divisible by 3, and these 3 squares are divisible by 3, this must also be divisible by 3 in order to ensure that that this is 0 mod 3, if you like, over all these 4 squares. In other words, when you divide the 4 squares by 0, by 3, you must get a remainder of 0. If you divide them by 0, you'll get something very different. So this has to be divisible by 3, all I'm saying is that because 9 isn't available, it's a 3 or a 6. That's fascinating. I like that. I want to do more of that. Look, we've got something similar again over here. Yeah, okay, so those are divisible by 3, exactly the same logic as over there. Those are divisible by 3, so these are divisible by 3, so these are divisible by 3. And along the top, yeah, same again, so those are divisible by 3. Now I've got those 4 are divisible by 3. That's more tricky, actually. What do 4 M-band lines? 4 M-band lines, they're not divisible by 4, are they? Or are they? Hang on. I don't think so. No, in fact, just take a simple example. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. That's definitely not divisible by 3. So, what do we know about 4 cells on the same Renban line? So let's make this one x. X plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3. So the sum of a 4-cell Renban line is 4x plus 6. Right. Okay. Well, 6 is divisible by 3. So the 4x part must be divisible by 3. So whatever the lowest digit is in here, multiply it by 4. And when you divide it by 3, it should be an integer. That feels right. Well, that means that integer, so that means the lowest digit, it can't be 3. 3 would work, because obviously 3 times 4 is 12, and 12 is divisible by 3. But the next digit that works is 6, and it has to be 6 then, because I was starting from the lowest digit. And if I go higher than 6, I'll reach it. If I started with 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10, I can't put 10 in a Sudoku square. I think this is 6, 7, 8, and 9. That is what the maths is saying. 6, 7, 8, 9 add to 30. which is definitely divisible by 3. And 4x plus 6 is 30, which seems to be exactly what I'd expect when x is... I think this is 6, 7, 8, 9. I may have done something wrong there, but I don't see what it is. And that, I mean, I'm not actually sure it's helpful, but it is... It's a beautiful idea, this whole division by 3 stuff. And actually the title makes me think this is probably what we're meant to do. 4x plus 6. I've never thought about that in the context of, well, anything before, let alone Renban. So, what do we now know? So these are 1s, 2s, 4s and 5s. And we know each green domino must sum to something that's divisible by 3. Ah, I know what I know now. Look, 9 is in this domino here. So 9 has been shifted up onto the Renban line. So this Renban line is 7, 8, 9 now, out of nowhere. Oh, this is just beautiful. Right, now I can do this Renban line. Because, can you put 1 and 2 on this Renban line? No, because if you put 1 or 2 on, you'll have to put 3 on, because we need 3 consecutive numbers, which you can't do. So this is a 1, 2 pair. That must be a 4, 5 pair. And this is a 4, 5, 6 triple. Now, do I learn what this square is? Oh, well, one thing I can see is that square definitely isn't 5, because if that square is 5, what do I put in this square? I have to put a consecutive digit, which will have to be a 4 or a 6, or no, actually, is that right? If I went 5, 7, no, you've got to put a consecutive digit. The point is that doesn't have to be consecutive, but you still have to put a consecutive digit somewhere in here. And you couldn't, because 4 and 6 would not be available in either of those dominoes because they're in this triple. Sorry, being a bit slow. So this is not 5. This is 4 or 6. So if this is... So this is either going to be 4, 5, 6 here, and these are going to be higher digits. Or I suppose they could be surrounding digits as well. Sorry, I'm not getting my head around this at all. So 4, 5, 6. So it could be as low as 2, 3, or it could be as high as 7, 8, I think. 2, 3 or 7. Some combinations of 2s, 3s, 7s and 8s. Right, so 1 is definitely not in there. Now, well, I feel like we've made a bit of progress, but I don't think I've understood everything I can do with this, which is frustrating. Right, come on, Simon, use your brain. Right, this column. This column has 3, 4, 5 on it. This is a triple, so we can't put 1, 2 on it because that will need a 3, which we can't use. So 1 and 2 in this column are in these cells. And these squares have got to be selected from higher digits than 5. So 6, 7, 8. Right, this is interesting. So these squares include, for definite, a 7 and an 8. And they're either 6, 7, 8, or they're 7, 8, 9. So there's not that much optionality here. Okay. So it's simple to see what happens. If this is, that's never 9, but if this triple is 7, 8, 9, those two squares have to be 5 and 6 because that's the only consecutive digits that are available. If this is 6, 7, 8, you can't actually put 9 in this row. So if this is 6, 7, 8, you'll have to go downwards and use 4 and 5. So there's always a 5 in this domino. So do we know something about this one now? The answer is yes, we do. Good grief. Right. So, the only 3 digits that are higher than 5 and lower than 9 are 6, 7 and 8. If you put 6, 7, 8 in there, you can't put anything in that cell. So this is not 6, 7, 8. So it's digits that are lower than 5. So it must include 2 and 3. And it's either 1, 2, 3 or 2, 3, 4. Which means... oh, no, it doesn't mean anything. I was about to try and say that I have to put some digit in here. But that's probably... No, it seems like I've actually catered for every digit along here. I've got 1, 2, 3s, 4s, 5, 6, 7s and 8s in all of the... as possibilities in one cell or another. Oh, I know what I can do though. I can get rid of 8 from that one, because these two have to be fairly close to 5. They're either 5, 6 or 5, 4. Yes, so you can't have 8 in this square. There we go. That might be why we've got the 2 different colours. Yeah, and now if I can't put 8, now I can't put 8 in any of those, so I've got to put 8 in one of these. Yeah, this is absolutely beautiful. Now, let's come back to these Renban lines. One of these Renban lines has a 9 on it, therefore it is 987. Therefore you can't put 8 in any of those 3 squares or any of these 3 squares. Got Maverick coming by in his low-flying aircraft outside again. But this is... he's not going to distract me. I am Iceman. Now... Now, 8, therefore, in this column has to be in one of those squares, which means that is a 7-8 pair and not a 2-3 pair. And if this is a 7-8 pair and not a 2-3 pair, that square can't be 4 anymore because it couldn't be consecutive with 7 and 8. So that's 6, and that means those become... oh, it doesn't do much. Those become 4, 5. These become 1s, 2s and 3s. Oh. Okay. What does that mean? That means that... that means we need to think about the perimeters some more, I think. Can we do something with 6, 7 and 8 here? That seems to be the sensible question. And the answer is yes, I can. I don't... this is just a beautiful Sudoku puzzle. It is so clever because let's think about the 6. Where does the 6 go in box 4? The 6 has to go onto a Renban line, but it's not on the Renban line, which is 7, 8, 9. So it's found its own Renban line, which must be 6, 5, 4. Therefore, those 6 squares are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and that's a 1, 2, 3 triple, which means those 2 squares are a 4, 5 pair. Which... yeah. Yes. Now, where does 2 go in box 7? And the answer is, I don't know very precisely, but I know precisely enough to spot something really gorgeous, which is the 2 is on the Renban line. Once 2 is on the Renban line, and it's 3-cell Renban line, what digit goes with it? The answer is 3, so 3 is not there, and that's a 6. So there's a 6 in one of these 3. There's no 6 here anymore, look. There's a 6 on this Renban line. Oh, not 5, a 6. There's no 6 here anymore. And this Renban line now must have a 3 on it. And oh, and it can't have a 4 on it. So this Renban line is 1, 2, 3. This is 7, 8. This square's become a 6 out of nowhere. That fixes those as 4, 5. It fixes these as 7, 8. It means this 4, 5 is nice. I can see that that's limiting the 4 or taking the 4 as an option out of those squares. So now look at this. We've got loads going on. We've got pairs and triples all over the shop. These squares are now 1, 3, and 9. And these 3 squares are 1, 2, and 9, I think. It's probably difficult to put a 9 there because of the little killer clue. Let's just think about that. If that's 9, that square's got a minimum value of 3 because it can't be 1 and 2. So you'd have 12 in those squares. 13. Yeah, this breaks. Right, okay. Because you've got a 1, 2, 3 triple here, the minimum value of this square is 4. So in fact, the minimum value of those 3 squares together is 4, 5, is 6. So given that this has to be 3 and that has to be 9, that's more than 16. Well, so this is not 9. We might be able to get rid of 9 from this one as well. So if that's 9, we've got, if that's 9, I need 7 more or less. I can't exceed 7 in these squares, and this is 4, 5. Yeah, it's too many. You can't make those add up to less than 3, and in fact you can't even make them add up to 3 because this square's at least 3, and so these are at least 4. So that is not 9. Now we're getting into the realms of very low digits on this. I've got a 1, 2, 3 triple in this row though, so I get a 9 here. That gives me a 9 up there. We can do a little bit of Sudoku of all things on row 2. I've got a 6, 7, 8 triple, the 6 of which is in this domino, so there's no 6 here. And now I've got a 7, 8 pair in this row. So, no, I don't think we know. Look, if you look at the other digits, they've actually got lots of options. 6 though. 6 has not appeared, so 6 is on the Renban line. On that and 6 is on that Renban line. Now, actually, these are 5-cell Renban lines, so they must have a 5 on them. It's impossible to create 5 consecutive digits from the digits 1 to 9 if they don't have 5 as an option. So there's definitely 5s on these as well. The pencil marking is going a bit doolally when I do that, but hopefully maybe I'll highlight them. If I highlight them, maybe I won't forget that that's what the highlighting means. So now let's just have a think. That's not 9 anymore. 1, 3 pair. So this is a 2. This is a 1. That's not done a great deal for us, don't think. So where do we look now? It's funny, it's a weird puzzle because there's not much I know what I could think about. What's on these Renban lines? So I've got 1, 2, 9 in this triple. So one of these Renban lines is 3, 4, 5, and the other one is 6, 7, 8. So if this one was 6, 7, 8, wouldn't I have a problem with this domino here? I think so, because I'd have to put 2 digits from 6, 7, 8 here, and that would clash. So this one is 6, 7, and 8. That's quite good. And that one must be 3, 4, and 3, 4, and 5 then. And that's not 3. Okay. Well, we got something from that. Right. So can I do the same sort of thing over here? I think I've already looked at this once. This was 7, 8, 9 and 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9. So if that one, no, see, it's not quite as good. Okay. 2 can't go there. I suspect I'm missing some Sudoku here, so let me just try and do some Sudoku in this Sudoku puzzle. We can do what? Oh, that's quite a high digit on the 16 diagonal. Maybe it's this that we need to think about. So if that's 7, 8, 9. This could still be 7. Bobbins, right, okay. So that could be 7, or it could be anything. Basically, this can be anything. Okay, let's come back to the orange Renban lines. Because you can't put 9 on any of them, look. These 9s and this 9 mean that the entire line's C9s. So if you can't put 9 on them, and they're 5 consecutive digits, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, there must be a 4 on the lines. So there's 4s on both of these Renban lines. That's... sorry, I'm not sure that's actually important at all. Not sure. What can I do? I've looked at everything else. Maybe, I'm sure I can do something here. Look, I'm going to have a positive mental attitude. Why can I not work out which of these lines is which? I need to put 9, 8, 7 onto one of them. So if this is 9, you'd have a 7, 8 pair here. If this is 9, you'd have a... alright, that's it. Right, sorry, look, you can't put 9 here. You'd have a 7, 8 pair there, and that breaks that square. So there we go. It was this all along. 9 goes here. This is a 7, 8 pair. That's no longer a 6. So the 6 is on this line along with 4s and 5s. So that's not 6. This 9 is ruling a 9 out from this square, placing a 9 over here. How many 9s have I got? The answer is a few. 9s. Oh, so 9 is in one of those two positions in row 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I see. So we've got sort of an X-swing on 9s left in those cells. Oh, I probably can't put 9 there because that's going to surely break the 16 diagonal. If this is 9, yes, immediately. 9 plus 6 is 15. I can't make those 3 cells add up to 1. That's not 9. This is 9. That means that must be the final 9, and there we go. That feels like some sort of progress. Now, where next? I'm sorry. I'm sure there's some way of breaking into this. I've got a lot of 4, 5s in this row. I need to put 4 and 5 on this this line. Yeah, oh, here's something mildly interesting. I'm going to award it that sobriquet, I think. You can't put 4 and 5 in those two squares because that breaks this one. But you also, look, can't put 4 and 5 in 2 of these 3 squares because that breaks this one. So one of those 2 squares must be a 4 and a 5, or 4 or a 5, and one of those 3 squares is a 4 or a 5. Does that mean anything? Something similar going on here, actually. I've just seen. I've got 4, 5 here and 4, 5 there as well. So it's the same point. I need to put 4 and 5 on the Renban line. I can't put them both in this row or both in this row. So there's one here, one here. That means there is a weird virtual 4, 5 pair in 2 of these 4 squares, which is not going to be easy to notate. So 2 of these 4 squares are 4s and 5s. Which probably is important somehow in a way that I can't quite understand. Right, but now I can presumably do something with the 6 here, look. This cannot be a 4-5 pair, because that will rule out the ability to fill this with 4s and 5s in any meaningful way. If this is a 4-5 pair, you've got to put the 4 and 5 on the Renban line here, and that will break this square. So I must have a 6 in that square to prevent that from happening. So that, look at that, that's going to fix a 6 in box 6 all of a sudden. That's not a 6 anymore. 6. Yeah, this is beautiful now. 6 seems to have to be in one of those 3 squares. I do not know why I've got that penciled in. Why is that penciled in? Oh, yes. Well, in fact, look. Look at this row. I've got a 7-8 pair. That's a 6. So I think I'd spotted a 6, 7, 8 triple before, and that pushed the 6 onto this Renban line. But the key thing about box 5 now is that you can't put a 6 in those 2 squares because then it'll repeat on the Renban line. So the only place 6 can go is here, which means there's no 6 in those squares. And how many 6s have we got? 1, 2, we've got 7. Okay, so these are an X-wing on 6s that we've got left to place. Now, what is the next thing we need to think about here? This row might be interesting because I've got to put, look, a 7 or an 8 on the Renban line. So if I put, that's quite interesting. If I put an 8 on, yeah, here's lovely. This is beautiful, beautiful. If you put an 8 on this Renban line, what digit must be on the Renban line as well? And the answer to that is 7, because we know there's a 4, 5 and 6. So if we put an 8 in one of those, you've got to put 7 on the Renban line. Where are we putting the 7? The answer is nowhere. You can't do it, because you can't put a 7 in those. There's a 7, 8 pair in the row. And you can't put a 7 in these, because that's become a 7, because you've put an 8 in one of those. So that doesn't work. So there is no 8 on the Renban line, but there is a 7 or an 8, so there is a 7. That is absolutely beautiful. So now we know this Renban line definitely has 4, 5, 6 and 7 on it, and it can't have 8. It's impossible, because this has become an 8, and that's become a 7 as a result of the fact that this is a 7. So now this Renban line is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you can't put a 3 in these because there's a 1, 2, 3 triple. So one of those 2 squares is a 3. Right, this is interesting now, because one of those is a 3, but one of them is a 4 or a 5 as well. So these squares, in fact, are a 3. We have to select the digits from a 3 and a 4 or a 5. So there is definitely a 3 in one of these two squares, and the other square, we're probably going to have to colour the 4s and 5s. That's what I'm starting to think. Now, let me just check whether we can do sort of symmetrical logic with 7s and 8s, because maybe we can't actually. What is it I'm trying to prove here? I'm not even sure. It's not clear. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit confused, I think. That's not a 3. Let's come back to Sudoku, maybe that will help us. Yeah, okay, I can do better. Yes, I can do better. I see. This is very clever, this puzzle. It honestly is. Because now, exactly as I did here with the 6, I can do the same trick using the 3s. Which one? Is it possible this is not a 3 is the question to ask? No, because that creates a 4-5 pair which rules out our ability to put a 4 or a 5 in either of those two squares, which would push 4 and 5 into those two squares and break that one. We don't want to break that one, so that square is a 3. Therefore, this is not a 3. Therefore, this is a 3. That's not a 3. We've got a 1-2 pair here now. So I've got to put... Now we can invert the logic that we did down here, but this time, rather than playing around with these squares and 7s and 8s, I'm going to play around with these squares and 7s and 8s. One of these squares has to be a 7 or an 8, because I've only got one 7 or 8 pencil marked in the row. So, if one of these is a 7 or an 8, let's ask whether it could be 8. If it's 8, what would we have to put on the Rembrandt line? In order to connect it with the 4, 5 and 6, we would have to put a 7 on. Well, that 7's not going in there, because if you put 7 and 8 in there, that breaks that. So the 7's going in one of those 3 squares, where it can't go, because there's already a 7 and 8 in that row. So there is no 8 in there, and if there's no 8 in there, there is a 7. So these digits are definitely 7 and a 4 or a 5. And this digit cannot be 7, therefore. So that's 8, that's 7. That seems to do something at the bottom. It gives us a 7-8 pair. I've hardly got any 8s or 7s in the grid. So now, do we know what those are? We know these are a 4 and a 5 and a 7. Yes, we know there's a 3 in here, surely. Because 7, if there's no 8, it must be 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Yes, there's a 3 in here. Therefore, there's no... So we pencil mark 3's in there. There's no 3's in here. There's a 3 in here. This is a 1-2 pair. So, okay, sorry, I thought that might break us into the puzzle, but I'm not actually sure it's done anything. So now, just thinking about these squares, because we know there's a 4-5 pair, there's a 3 and a 7 in this quadruple, so we must have to place 1, 2 and 8 in the rest of this box. And that is definitely not an 8, so this is a 1 or a 2. feels like we're very close to cracking this puzzle, I have to say, although that's probably famous last words. We can... don't know. I don't know what we can do. I'm sure we can do something. I just have to work out what it is. We still haven't got this square. What's this square? So this square is now... I've got a minimum of 10 there. This has got to be 6 or less. Can't be 6. Oh, it can't be 1, 2 or 3. That's a 4 or a 5. So that joins its friend here, which is a 4 or a 5, and we now know this digit apparently. That digit has got to be... has that got to be 8? I think it does. I've not put 8 in the row. That's 8. That's 8. That's 7. That's not 7 anymore. That's not 8 anymore. The 8 in the central box goes here. Oh, I've still got sort of deadly pattern of 7s and 8s in those squares. So, come on. Is there some way? I wanted to colour the 4s and 5s, didn't I? Is that a sensible thing to do, or is it impossible? This one is interesting, actually, isn't it? Yeah, okay, I am going to try and colour them because of this square. Let me show you why I think this square is interesting. Let's get rid of the colours on here. Now, I'm going to colour this one in. So, this is something. It's a 4 or a 5, but we know that this digit must appear on this Rembrandt line. Where does it go? It can't go in the box and it can't go in the column. So that square is purple, and it's not therefore 3. And if it's not 3, that's a 3. And if this is a 3, that's not 3, and that's not 3. Oh, you rotten thing. And it doesn't do anything. But that must be purple now. That must be purple now. So maybe we'll use... I was about to use green, but I've already got some greens in the grid. But I don't need... I think those greens were just cells that had to sum to multiples of 3. So let's use green for the other one now. So that's green. That's green. One of these two is green. Purple must go here, look, so that must be green. Oh, bobbins, that doesn't work. Okay. Is this just a fool's errand then? Does it not do anything? I know one of those is green. I don't think I know which one. Unless somehow I do. No, this one was quite special, wasn't it? Because it was positioned in such a way that I could identify its counterpart. Here, I know one of those. I know one of the... Oh, yes, okay. One of these is green, so one of these is purple. That must be true. One of these is purple, because we can't put purple in either of those, but we know the Rembrandt line has a 4 and a 5. So that purple must go there. So this square is not 3. Therefore, this square is 3? Yes, that's the only place 3 can now go on this silly line. That means that square's a 3, look. Now I've got a 1, 2 pair here. Good grief, this is complicated. Therefore, that square's purple, that square's green. So these squares... Oh, this is lovely. Right. I was about to say, I'm still going to say it. These squares are... Look at the row. These squares are 1, 2, 4 and 5. So we can select them from these digits just by Sudoku on the row. But there's a 1, 2 pair in this column. So this square is a 4 or 5 and it's not that colour. So it's got to be green. Now this is in the symmetrical position. Where does green go on this Renban line? It can't go in any of those squares. By Sudoku, it's got to go here. This cannot be a 7. So it goes here. The 7 goes here. The 7 is not here. In fact, the 7 is there then. That line does. This line needs a 7 on it. So this 7 has just given me this square. These can't be 4 or 5 now, because we've got the 4 and the 5 in the row. There's a 1-2 pair in this column. So the digits that are missing, yes, they are 4 and 5. So this square is a 4 or a 5. We can see that now, actually, by Sudoku of all things. And this square's got to be a 6, I think. Yes. So that's a 6, this is a 6, this is a 4 or a 5. And has this actually, well, I think it has been useful because we've sort of got all of these digits filled in. But it's definitely, so now that, I bet it's this. This is the only unsymmetrical thing. And now we've got a 3 on it. Yeah, lovely. This 3 has disambiguated the 16 diagonal because now I have to pick absolute minimums along this diagonal. I have to go 4, 7, double 1, which adds to 13 in order to make the whole thing add to 16. So we've just finished the puzzle, I think. Oh, well, we might have done if I can just... That must be a minimum. That's a 4. Therefore, green has become 5. This has got to be a 1. So that's a 3. So that's a 1. This 3 here looks quite helpful now. 3s and 2s go in. 2s and 1s go in. Let's just see if we can tidy up. No, we might need this one as well, which we know is a minimum. So that's a 1. That's a 2, which is going to do some damage in the middle, look. That's a 1, that's a 2. That's a 1, that's a 2. That's a 1, that's a 2. And now it looks, hopefully, the 5s and the 4s I think are now finished. And we've just got this deadly pattern of 7s and 8s to resolve, but we know this has to be a 7. 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 8, click. Yes, that's just a stunning puzzle. That is a stunning puzzle. The logic in that is just sensational. It really is. I mean, there is so much to admire. The start is beautiful in terms of working out how to get a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple here, although I don't think I really used that very well. I might have been able to do better with that. And then basically you could whittle away at the entire perimeter and get the whole perimeter into pairs or triples, which was extraordinary. And then after that, what did I... Oh, then I had to work on these lines. And these Renban lines and the 4s and the 5s are just amazing. It's amazing that you can colour them at all, to be honest. And the logic where you can sort of bounce back and forward and force them into different cells before finally getting... The way this diagonal works is incredible, because we needed that to be able to colour this square, which coloured basically all of them. And then in the final analysis, this diagonal did duty again because of this 3. I mean, the selection of this diagonal to be the way that the logic progresses is just, it's utterly stupendous setting. Really is. Good grief. It's a longish video again, but I'm sorry. We want to show you the world's best puzzles, and this is definitely one of them. And they take me a while to solve them, so you'll have to bear with us, I hope. And thanks so much for watching, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.